Welcome to the Small Business Sisterhood podcast. I'm your host, Pepper Makepeace, an online business strategist for female solopreneurs and side hustlers, and founder of the Small Business Sisterhood, an online membership community serving small business owners in the first stages of business. Join me as I go behind the scenes with female entrepreneurs, revealing the struggles, strategies, and inspiring stories of these amazing women. If you're interested in connecting with like-minded women, learning effective business strategies from the experts, and being a part of a mastermind group that helps you grow your business, check us out at smallbusinesssisterhood.com. Today we're talking to Anna Sabino, designer behind the jewelry brand Lucid New York and author of Your Creative Career. In Your Creative Career, Anna shows her fellow artists and creatives how to build a business that reflects their talent and true calling while generating serious cash. Whether the goal is to build an empire and be financially free, create a lifestyle business, or just to have more time, Your Creative Career guides you through every aspect of creative entrepreneurship. Anna, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I'm really excited to talk to you, and I am so excited about your book. Tell me a little bit more about you and how you got started.
Pepper, thank you so much for having me. I am beyond excited to chat. So I was on Wall Street, and I started the jewelry brand as a side hustle. And I think it's a very comfortable position to be in, to be getting a full-time job salary and to start something on the side on weekends at night. It's a nice and cozy feeling because you can do it on your own terms. You don't have the pressure to perform. And I really like that. And when I was ready to dive in deeper to go full time, I did it. But it took about, I would say, a year and a half of having double careers. But I'm glad I did it that way. It just really comforted me.
That's really interesting. You don't hear a lot of people that stick it out that long and then turn it into a full-time business. So what made you make that leap between from the side hustle to full-time jewelry business?
I am a big proponent of testing the product, and that's what I was doing originally. I was really making sure that my collection, the jewelry pieces, that's something that not only people like, but also that they want to buy. So I kept creating, and I kept asking for feedback. Random people, family, friends, of course, but I was also making sure that the feedback comes from customers who I didn't know before. And as soon as I found out that people were recommending the styles, they were chatting on social media about it, they wanted more, they were asking me where they can get it, and they were really putting their money behind their words, then I knew I was ready to quit my full-time Wall Street career and get into the jewelry business full-time.
That's so smart. You're so practical. I love it. It's great. So when did you start your jewelry business? How long have you been doing that?
That was actually over 12 years ago. So now when I think back, I don't think it was social media and stuff. I just got myself. No way. It was mainly word of mouth and emails and such and actual orders. So that was over 12 years ago.
So 12 years ago, I'm trying to think of the state of the online world in 12 years ago. How did you have a website? How were you selling things? Was it just person to person or?
I started on a young designers market in Soho.
Okay.
It was just this cutting-edge place where designers were creating things, and we had a lot of fans coming on weekends who wanted to buy more and more. And it was an easy way to test collections. I then moved on to participating in trade shows and selling my collections on a larger scale. I was traveling to San Francisco. I was exhibiting in New York, LA, and Paris. At one point, I was in 200 stores, and it was really overwhelming, very rewarding. The wholesale world is just a different animal. I scaled back since, but I'm glad I got a taste of that because I learned a lot by participating in trade shows, and I was able to share the lessons and the mistakes I made in the book.
Yeah, and you're a proponent of not growing your business just for the sake of growing your business. Tell me more about kind of your philosophy behind that and what you recommend to people.
Yeah, so the society conditions us to focus on growth in financial terms. We are bombarded with emails and pitches. Let me show you how to grow your business. Let me show you how to be more profitable. But nobody asks themselves, is this something I want to do? do I really want to aspire to make unlimited amounts of money? Is this all that I want? Some people may want to free their time to spend it with their families or travel, volunteer. Others may want to develop other careers, other hobbies, and have a more multidimensional career path.
Right.
But I think that, our environment just really pushes us to grow, to, get more employees, bigger office spaces, be in more stores, etc. But we don't take a step back to see if this is what we really want.
Right. I actually have experience with kind of that strange phenomenon because I was doing like a partnership with somebody and it was kind of a side hustle from my business. And his whole goal was to go nationwide and to do this big push with it. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't really want to do that. I don't want to be nationwide, and I don't want to add that extra time and responsibility. And it's funny because it was so confusing to him that I didn't want to do that. So I totally identify with what you're saying, but it's not the norm that people talk about where you don't just expand and expand and expand. I love that you get that and that you understand that and you have that experience.
Yeah. So 3 years ago, I decided to pursue another career path as well, and I decided to become an author. But what I noticed while I was writing the book and, becoming an author, becoming a writer, was that these two passions, being a designer and being an author, were feeding off each other, and they were making me excited about both. So, how after, 10 years of being in the same business, even being successful, or regardless if you're successful or not, you may get a little tired and bored, I could say. And it's hard to preserve this initial energy. So I think that by having, other careers as well, or other hobbies, and having just basically this multi-dimensional career life can be very good for the soul, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. So what would you recommend to business owners that are contemplating how and where to grow their businesses? What should they really look at and evaluate in themselves and in their businesses to kind of figure that out?
Well, I do think that first there has to be a strong foundation to be able to make these choices. Because if you're at the testing stage and if you're not even sure if your products or services work, you don't really have that much leverage there. So step one would be to test your products or services and to see if there's a need for them, if they have a commercial value, if people are willing to pay for them. Then, coming up with a system, because a business needs a system. If it doesn't have a system, it's basically a hobby. And then, a few steps further, you will be able to grow it on your own terms. You will be able to decide if you want to expand, how much you want to expand, etc.
Yeah, that makes sense. And that's such an important thing to consider, is that having that foundation and the systems in place so that actually functions well, and then from there evaluating how to expand. How did you decide to get into the writing piece to kind of supplement your jewelry business with that aspect? How did that come about?
Well, I really have this strong desire to share what I learned and to save other entrepreneurs time. If I can save their time so that they don't make the same mistakes, so that they can achieve their success faster, it just sounds very fulfilling, and I just love doing this. I have this coach and teacher in me. So this is basically the mission behind my book, Your Creative Career. I want to save you time. I want to save entrepreneurs time so that they don't make the same mistakes I made, so that they learn from the mistakes.
Tell me a little bit more about what people can find in the book.
Well, the book has 12 chapters, and it's based on 12 creative insights. These are very valuable tips which are necessary to create a successful product business or service. Your creative career is not just for artists. It's not just for those who are artists who want to be successful in their professions. It's for anyone with an existing business or anyone who wants to start a business. For example, there is an insight: wear your two large wings with confidence. You will grow into them. And I really love it, because I do think that sometimes we have to push ourselves to do things that we are not ready for, because many of us have an issue with starting, with shipping, with delivering, because we think that this version is not good enough, that our products are not good enough. And that's how many businesses don't start, many books don't get written, because we're just not confident enough to show it to the world. So wear your two large wings with confidence. You will grow into them.
I love that so much, and that's so true. It's such a common experience for people that whether it's like launching your website and you're not quite happy with exactly how it looks or how it's worded or whatever, and just not doing it because it doesn't feel perfect. And that desire for it to be perfect before you put it out there stops so many of us. It's just not helpful. It doesn't serve us. It's such a great thing to think about. And I love that idea that you'll grow into them because it's so powerful.
Yeah. Confidence, I would say, you get treated the way you show up as.
Right.
Really holds true. I mean, people see you the way you talk about yourself, the way you present yourself. And so often we present ourselves in such an apologetic way. Oh, I'm here to speak, but I shouldn't be really here. I own a business, but it's not a big deal. I'm a doctor, but it was easy. So we downplay our talents. We downplay our skills and businesses, and we present ourselves in this desperate, almost attitude that others don't really want to see. Because if a speaker apologizes for not being prepared or is surprised that he's there on a stage, the audience may think, then why are you wasting my time?
Right.
And it's disrespectful. So you are definitely treated the way you present yourself, the way you show up as.
Yeah. Well, and I almost think confidence isn't something that you just have innately. It's more something that you practice, and then it kind of builds on itself. So I love that idea of just kind of going out there like you already feel that way, and then you will grow into it, and it'll become more natural. I think that's such a beautiful idea. So I am so excited about your book, and I can't wait to get my copy. Can you tell everybody where the best place to find your book and to learn more about you?
Absolutely. YourCreativeCareer.com. Log in there, and you will also get 3 bonus gifts just because you're a listener of this wonderful podcast. You will get 3 bonus gifts if you order a copy. And the books are also available wherever books are sold, because Your Creative Career was published by Career Press, so it's a traditionally published book.
How did you land the traditional route for publishing your book? That's kind of uncommon these days. How did that work out for you?
Yeah, I attended a few writers' conferences, and again, I was testing my idea. Just like with a jewelry brand, I approached this business because writing a book is definitely starting a business, just in case anybody would wonder. And I was testing my book idea at a few writers' conferences, and then I attended a pitch session in New York at the Writers' Digest conference, which basically was just like speed dating for authors. Yeah, there were like 50 agents, and you had to do some research beforehand to see who was interested in nonfiction, because my book is nonfiction, and who was searching for the subject I was writing about. And I chose 7 who I presented my pitch to, and then 2 of them were interested, and we had conversations, and I signed an exclusive agreement with my agent, John, who's just unbelievable and amazing. And I thought that was done. The job was done, but then pitching to publishers started, and some rejections creeped in, but then John was able to secure a deal, and the book was sold to Career Press, and it was published on January 22nd.
That's awesome. So I love this pattern of testing that you have in both your businesses, with the jewelry and with your book. And it kind of feeds into that whole idea of wearing your wings and then you'll grow into them. So tell me kind of about your process of testing. How far do you develop an idea before you put it out there? And how do you know you're ready to start testing it?
Yeah, so you would be surprised how ready and how excited people are to give feedback. There are so many of us who love giving unwanted advice. And I like doing that too. If an entrepreneur asks me about a product, I would totally offer advice. It's just very fulfilling and rewarding to be a part of a process.
Yeah.
So with editors at a conference and even with attendees, I had my original book concept and I would ask, how does it sound? What do you think about it? Is that a strong one? And I decided to tweak and rewrite based on the feedback I was getting. Because if somebody has been in the business for, 20, 30 years, I really value their opinion. And it really pays off not to be in love with your idea, with your business, but to really listen. Because we may be wrong. We may be so close to what we are making, what we're doing, that we may just lose ourselves in our greatness, right? And instead of just, taking the feedback in and just really listening to your audience, your future customers. And that's very valuable because that's who's going to buy your product. That's who's going to buy your book. So listen to what they want. If you want to create for yourself and you want to write a book for yourself, write in your journal or pick a hobby. Right. But if you really want a business, I really think you need to listen to your customers really closely and tweak and tweak and tweak until you get it.
That's such valuable advice because you're right. We do get too close to things and we get kind of attached to an idea of something. And I know I've done this too. But just listening to what people actually want can be so helpful and so eye-opening sometimes. And it can really kind of enrich in the process and the experience of the customer or the client because, they wanted something that you hadn't even thought of yet. So I really love that idea, and that's such great advice.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to find out not only if people like it, but also if they're willing to pay for it. And there's such a stigma behind money, entrepreneurship and money. I'm not there for the money. And I'm not going to talk about money. But this is how we can measure if what we made, what we created, if this has value. How else can we measure? Just words themselves? Some people are just kind and don't want to hurt us. So in many cases, it's just not enough. But if somebody is really willing to put their money behind it and get it and be our little advertising agency and spread the word about it, that is a sign that we should continue on that path and we can stop our tweaking and modifying process.
Absolutely. I love that. Yes, money is not evil in and of itself. It's kind of an indicator that we're on the right path and we're doing something that is of value. With your jewelry business, tell me about kind of your first year on your own, really doing it full time. Like, was there anything surprising or difficult for you in that time that you want to share with us to inspire us?
Absolutely. So the first year was a real challenge for me in a way that I just completely lost track of work and life balance. I just lost myself in the business because when you think about it, you could work on your business 24/7. There's always something that can be done to your site. You can always pitch customers, attend shows, do more research. So I would feel guilty if I was going to watch a movie because that time, an hour and a half or 2 hours, could be spent on doing something else. So it took me a while to just create the balance, to gain my life back, to gain a social life back, because I started losing friends. I checked out from the world and I just dove deep into the business.
Right.
So that was a big challenge. Another thing that really surprised me, and you have it in your business school and said to you white and clear, cash is king, cash flow, and all that. During my classes, I was like, I understand cash flow is important. But when you start a product business, it's really mind-blowing how important it is to actually get a grasp on expenses, revenues, and how it all flows in an organic way that you can make it. Because when you do wholesale, a lot of customers will ask you to offer them terms. It means you ship the merchandise and they will pay you in 30 to 45 days. Meanwhile, your bills are due now. So how do you juggle? What do you do with these 30 to 45 days? So you have to think about it all and don't undersell yourself. Don't price yourself too low, your products too low, because it's not going to be sustainable.
Right.
I think creating a healthy system for your business in it for a long term that's sustainable, it's not just so that you gain customers short term, is very important.
Very important. I totally agree with that. That's great advice and a great reminder. It all has to feed itself and continue without you having to kill yourself. Has there been any time throughout your entrepreneur life that you've utilized the value of community, or how has that kind of played into how you've grown your business?
I think being a part of a community when you own a business is super important, because there is no employer who's going to give you deadlines and details and how-tos. Most of the time, you have to figure it out on your own, and it's hard to motivate. But when you are a part of a community, when you can see what others are doing, how they are prospering, when you can clap for them and be happy about what they're doing, it can really resonate, can really inspire you to prosper in your own field. So I joined Writing on Medium Every Day community, and it was a part of Ninja Writers. It was originated by Shanta Grimes. So we were writing an article a day for 30 days, and we were commenting and inspiring each other. And it was really, really wonderful, because you were getting feedback, you were getting validation, you were staying connected, you were reading what others writing, and these were writers from different genre, and that's what kept me going. And when you are consistent as a creative, it really pays off. Not only it strengthens your muscle, you also attract audience that is used to a routine, an audience who's waiting for your content. I was writing for 30 days every day, and I decided to extend that challenge because of the engagement and the wonders of Medium. So I actually ended up writing for 100 days, every day, every single day.
Oh.
Yeah. Posting an article a day for 100 days was challenging, but it really, I learned a lot in the process. But I wouldn't have been able to do that without the community, without the support, without seeing the others.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. And such a perfect example of that. Not only the accountability and a little bit of structure, but the feedback and the engagement, and how that really does kind of feed your own inspiration in your own business. I think that's such a beautiful example of how that works. And that's great. Thank you for sharing that.
Are you interested in connecting with like-minded women, getting feedback, support, and accountability around your business, and having live access to co-working and strategy sessions to help you grow your business? Then check us out at smallbusinesssisterhood.com. As a podcast listener, you have access to a free 30-day trial membership. Just use the promo code PODCAST when you check out.
Go check out this book, because there's lots of juicy tips in there for people to learn and save time. Again, tell us your website where they can check out the book.
Absolutely. So yourcreativecareer.com, or you can also go to annasabino.com. There are some free info tidbits for entrepreneurs. There is a Writing on Medium course, because that's how I grew my audience exponentially, and I'm sharing lots of tips there. Check it out, because I really poured all my lessons, all the stuff I learned. I am not saving anything for the next book or for anything else that I will write. This is how to start a successful product or service business. This is how to make your existing business successful.
Thank you, Anna, for talking with us today. You can find more information about Anna and the link to her website in the show notes for this episode at smallbusinesssisterhood.com/17. I hope you found this episode useful and inspiring. If you did, please pop over to iTunes and leave a review. Thanks for listening. Catch you next time.